DKT not so early like the other presenters. Um, Graduated in 2018, and so that you know what my career looks like, I had some internships in India, and then directly I joined NC State University to pursue my master's in advanced nonwoven science and technology. It was more towards polymer science, and then currently I'm working with Jones Nonwovens, coming under Jones family of companies as a performance improvement manager. And I'll tell you more about the company in a bit. So just so that everybody knows, I want to have an interactive session with you all. So if you have any questions, suggestions, or any concerns, just feel free to raise your hand or unmute and just speak to me. I just don't want yes or yes sirs or yes yes. So today we are going to cover Unit 5, that is managing innovation. Um, just so that everybody knows, these slides, I have prepared these slides for the convenience, for ease of use. Just if you have a business idea, you want to see where it goes or where it lands within a year or two from now, you can use these slides as reference. They'll act as guiding points. So let's say I have a business idea and I want to launch it in the market, but I'm not sure because I'm still a student in this is third year, right? Katkaman, this is third year.
Yes, yes. All are
So
third year students, different
okay,
branches.
perfect. So let's say this is a third year. I'm a third year student. I have a great business idea in my mind, but I don't know how to launch it in the market. So these slides and this document, I'll share it with everybody, or I'll share it with Professor Kotkar. She can share it with everybody. These will act as these slides will act as a reference point or guiding points for you. So feel free to ask if you have any questions. And the topic in itself is such, like it's not right or wrong. It's just what works in the market, what works worldwide, just based on some experience, some learning points. And remember, just a few years ago, I was just sitting in your seat right now. So feel free to ask any questions, and I'll try to make it as interactive as possible. So the agenda of the meeting or the session today would be I'll introduce what I do, where I work at, the company, and what we'll cover in this session. Then we'll go to why new products fail. We'll take a different approach at the session rather than telling you what works the best in the world and this is what you should do. We'll go a different route and I'll explain you why products fail and what people do wrong, and then we'll go into what should have been done or what is the right way to go. Then the third is the stage gate process, a brilliant process, or I would say um, derived from a very experienced, well-known public figure in the States, at least, um, a process, a theory that works for more or less 99.9% of the new products or new innovative ideas, and how do you launch it in the market, the validation and all the stages that go along with it, the questions you ask. We'll cover that in step three, and then we'll go into business plan and open discussion. Because you can have the best idea in the world, but if you don't have a business plan and how you can make it feasible, just just as easy as for a fifth grader, um, it won't work. So we'll cover all of that in the session today. So diving into what I work right now and what my background is. So graduating from NC State with with a focus in non-wovens. I joined Jones. Jones has umbrella of multiple different business segments. Um, Being performance improvement manager, I so I'm more in the business and the management side of the business or of the company. So one of the products we make is insulation pads. This is 100% non-wovens. I guess something which you learn or which you should have just learned. I don't know if there were any changes
Hello,
in the
sir.
syllabus.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, slide is not visible, sir.
It's visible, Vaibhav.
Not
I guess problem is
No.
there from your side,
No,
Vaibhav. I
ma'am.
could see. What about
No,
others?
ma'am. Ma'am,
No,
Vaishnavi,
ma'am,
it's
slide
not
is not
visible.
visible.
But I could see the slide.
Ma'am, it was visible for a few minutes, but it's not visible now.
Uh, Pranil, will you
Yeah. Let
please?
me. Yeah. Let me try again.
Yeah, yeah.
How about now, students?
Yeah,
yes,
it's
sir.
visible
Now
now.
visible.
Yes, sir, right now.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. So just so you know, and those who might have missed this, we started off with introduction, then we went into Unit 5, what we are going to talk about today, then was the agenda. And don't worry if you have not seen or missed this, I'll be sharing the slides with Professor Carter. Um, so we are talking about what the company does, Jones Nonwovens. So we are into different business segments. One of the business segments is producing, manufacturing insulation pads, 100% non-woven fiber pads. So this is a very growing market, especially after COVID. Our company is one of the companies which you know um, grew multiple folds during COVID. And where we use this product or these insulation pads is cold chain packaging. It's in the food market and pharmaceutical market. So you have, let's say you order a frozen meat or ice cream or something at your home, but from the point uh, someone buys it from the grocery or the delivery guy buys it in the grocery store, right to the point where it is delivered to your home, there could be 10-kilometer difference or um, 20-kilometer distance. So these insulation pads are used in the box that is delivered right to your home, which keeps the food frozen. Let's say you have multiple different options of 1 day shipper, which keeps the food insulated for 1 day, close to 30 hours. Then you have 2 day and 3 days, and so on. So this is also used in pharmaceutical markets worldwide. We recently landed a big European customer. We'll be shipping this from the United States to European market, and where I come into the picture is I develop business plans, business ideas, strategies, and make key strategic decisions. Could be related to sales, it could be related to labor, it could be related to manufacturing equipments, technology, etc., etc. Just coming up with how do we spend less and make more money, in short. Going forward, Jones caters to different customers, adding some values and services. So we are having a nationwide presence, multiple different locations. It really helps us cater to have a nationwide presence in the States. We have several different warehousing capabilities. I recently headed a project in North Las Vegas, Nevada, in the United States, where I opened up a new building, 50,000 square feet from ground zero, um, looking into different aspects of different businesses, different customers, like what are the customers we have here, how can we cater it from this location, etc., etc. So more or less, that is about the company. If anyone has any questions, and we'll dive deeper into the unit itself. Innovation. I guess everyone pretty much heard this term before, especially once you are in science and engineering. And I don't know what was covered by Sandeep and Arvind before, but we'll talk a lot about innovation, new products, coming up with new ideas. What if I have an idea, but I don't know how to roll it out in the market, um, and so on. But just an open question to the to everybody in this call on this call. Why do new products fail? Now there are several reasons to it, but what do you think just from what you have seen? Um, Hey, I've seen a new product getting launched. I saw a new advertisement on TV, but 2 weeks down the line, I'm not seeing that product anymore in the market. Did they just cut it off? Did the company lose its market share? What really happened? So why do you think the new products fail? Good morning, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir. So Vaishnavi
Yes, sir.
here. I think improper execution.
Okay, execution, good point. Anybody else?
So, so Kiran here, lack of marketing of the new product and like failing to explain features of it.
Okay,
It's
so
Swapnita.
making
Hi sir,
Kiran, you're
Akash is
saying,
here. Hi sir.
go ahead, guys. Sorry.
Yeah. So
So
sometimes
to un to lack in the fulfill of the need of people in the market, so the product will be fail.
Okay, had somebody
The
else
means
talk.
company execution is not right, sir.
Who's this?
Vaibhav here.
Vaibhav. Okay.
Vaibhav, sir. If
Hello, sir.
execution is not properly that time, which might be product fail.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Shivanjali is here. Hello.
Shivanjali, right?
Yes, sir. So,
Okay.
because of lack of quality control or also lack of design or the bad design is there, that's why product fails.
Very
I
good
think.
point. Very good point. All right. So just summarizing what everybody answered here, Vaishnavi and Vaibhav said no execution so far. Could be in terms of management. Management failed to execute the product or launch the product in the market correctly. Could be the marketing failure. It could be so many points where you have execution needed that needs to go right, but it didn't go right. Um, from what Akash said, the product does not cater the demand or the right demand of the customer. Let's say customer has a demand um, of a tissue that needs to be soft, that needs to be lightweight, that needs to be flexible, flimsy, but a company comes up with a product that does not cater to all the needs or some of the needs, and that could be one of the reasons, according to Akash. That's absolutely right. Shivanjali, a very good point. Lack of design. So if customer is looking for something, let's say robust, but also lightweight and minimalistic, um, and if the product does not deliver that, you have lack of design itself. So very good points here, and there could be so many more reasons once you enter the real world. Because in theory, these could be, and also in practically, um, these could be the points, but there are so many other points, just as small as, hey, we launched the product 2 years early, or maybe we didn't even know this product already existed. Like, hey, there is already a product like such in Japan. So this thing like things like those could be the possible potential failure points. So let's look at majority of the reasons um, from a book, which I'll share more details about later on. But it says holes and omissions. There are key activities not done properly, or are done poorly, or not done altogether. Let's say um, I'm in a hurry to launch my product because I want to earn more money, easier, earlier, quicker, and I do not do market research at all. And um, I'm selling some different product to a different customer because I don't know who to sell this product to, or maybe I did not do a cost analysis of competitive products, and I'm delivering something but a very high profit margin or a selling point. So the customers still are not buying my product, they're buying someone else's product because it's way too cheaper than what value I'm adding to my product. Then there's lack of market information. Just to the point where Akash said, does not cater to the demand. 77% of the new product failures, and this is a very big number or percentage proportion of product failures, project leaders choose not to do a detailed market study. Um, I have one friend of mine works in Amazon Prime Video actually, and what he does is um, when a production house submits different trailers, what he does is he goes to a selected range of market, let's say 10 customers or 20 customers or 20 samples, and has them look at the videos, look at different trailers, and then say what was the trailer that would be more intriguing to the audience, or what what trailer made you think you should watch the movie or the TV series, just things like those. So he goes to 3 to 4 different market research companies. There are companies which do detailed market studies. So they go to them and say, hey, I want to do a case study with 100 population. So instead of 20 people watching my trailers, I want 100 people to watch the trailer. And the bigger the population of your researchers, the better results you gain. And then the third point is overlooked activities. You have lack of trial production. Let's say instead of running 100 test runs, you just run 2 test runs and you just got lucky. And the product is performing all well until you get 100 customer complaints in just 2 days of launching the product. And you're like, oh, I should have done more research, more trial run, and lack of pre-commercialization business analysis. Um, we'll talk more about these failures and how do we tackle these failures, or what can we do to make sure the product does not fail once it's launched. But before going into that, a very interesting point here is there's a museum of failure, one in the United States and one in Taiwan. As far as I know, there's just two, but could be more. Um, so this museum has all the products from, let's say, the biggest companies in the world to small companies trying to deliver something so apt, so true, but they just launched it before the right time. The product is good, they cater to the demand, it adds a lot of value to the existing products, but the only thing was they launched it way too ahead of everybody else. The market is not even ready. Let's say you launch 10G before going to 6G, 7G, 8G, 9G. The market won't be accepting that. That the customer needs to know what product you're selling. They have to understand the product because you have a wide variety of audience for some products, and you have all kinds of audiences in the product. You have someone who not only understands it, but also are curious to know what goes inside it, how is it made, just like drinking any energy drink. Let's say I come in the category where before drinking something new for the first time, I look at the ingredients to make sure, hey, what does it contain? What are the proportions? So just things like those. And then you have also audience which, hey, that's blue in color. Let's not think about it. Let me drink that. So just things like those. So one of the interesting products I would like to highlight is the Coke 2 or the Coke Generation 2. So this came right in between where Coca-Cola and Pepsi were head to head with each other in the 1900s, where Coke thought they failed to capture a bigger or a wider market just because they thought people went after Pepsi because it was more sweet and failed to realize that they are capturing a whole different segment of soft drinkers um, market. So Coke came up with, hey, let's add more sugar to it. Let's make it a little bit more sweet and sell it and compete with Pepsi. So they added more sugar. It was launched called as New Coke, and they rapidly reintroduced as Coca-Cola Classic. So it terribly failed the market. Just right when it was launched, they kept on introducing new marketing strategies. Interesting thing was I looked at the first ever, um, what do you call it, the advertisement ever done in the history of advertisements from Coke in Atlanta, Georgia. There's a wall. They had to repaint it every several few years because it just gets old. But the wall is still the same, and the advertisement they had is still the same. I was lucky enough to pass by and take a look at it. Such an old wall, like really historic wall and painting. And all it said was about this new Coke was um, they failed the market terribly, and this was a learning curve for them because they could have, like us, we could have never even heard of Coke if it had failed it terribly, and they didn't do anything to change the perception of the customers. But just like Coke, how New Coke failed, there are so many different products in this museum of failure, and you can look it up online to see how different products fail and what were the reasons behind the failures. So we studied what was wrong in launching a new product or why products fail. Now let's look at what are the key activities you had to perform or what are the points you had to keep in mind for new product development. So you have initial screening, preliminary market assessment. I'm not going to read the entire list. I'm going to have it make it available for you. But you have several different stages, market studies, development, testing, validation, selling it to a small range of customers before launching the product worldwide or going live with the product, coming up with different marketing strategies, externally, but also internally coming up with a plan on how you can manufacture that product effectively. When I say effectively, I mean better, quicker, and cheaper. These 3 points. So you have several different points you have to take into consideration before even you can think, hey, I'm going to rock the world with this new product. So you have to go through several different steps or take so many points into consideration. So that's how we merge into stage gate theory. Now, before we go here, I want to talk a little bit about the inventor of this term, Dr. Robert G. Cooper. I read one of his books during my master's. Not that I was interested, but it was compulsory to me, so I had no other option but to read it. But after reading and learning more about how Robert Cooper invented this theory, this process of stage and gate, is really, really interesting. So one of his interviews, I read why he invented this, and it's really interesting. So he was into market research, or what we call it as business developer these days. He was into business development, and he was given let's say funding from the government to make to come up with something on how do you make the companies sell more, make more money with all the innovative ideas you have. Um, so He took the grant, he took the funding, he went to several different companies. He went to almost, he studied each company for 2 months, and he went to 20 to 30 different companies. And we're talking about companies like Toyota, Coca-Cola, Frito-Lay, and all those, big giants, 3M, and so on. So studying each and every company for 2 to 3 months, talking to um, innovative director or D&D director, R&D, head of R&D, um, he realized one thing. Hey, all these people have great ideas. Some have great ideas in automotives, some have great ideas in manufacturing, some have great ideas in medical sciences, but there's something common behind every process of how they are conducting or how they're making sure their products win the hearts of the people, win the hearts of customers, reach the maximum capacity of a product acceptance. And then he came across this stage gate theory because he tried to summarize everything, every product in the world, every process in the world, and say, if I have to put down something saying this process or this theory satisfies all the products or how all or majority of the products can be launched successfully in the market, here's this theory. If your products satisfy or fulfill this theory, it is at a good standing. If it doesn't, you have to do more research, brainstorm, or come up with something better if you want the product or the process to succeed. So we'll start with stage gate theory, and it's also called as phase gate process sometimes, or Japanese also termed it as tool gate method. What is stage gate theory? It's a systematic process, like a blueprint, roadmap, for moving from new product ideas um, through various essential stages and steps to commercial scales, to launching it in the market, to going live. It's characterized by a series of steps or processes, or just like the points we discussed earlier about initial screening, marketing, research. So what we call it as points or checkpoints, Dr. Cooper calls it steps or processes or stages that are separated by gates. And I'll tell you why he termed it as gate. The gates define required deliverables. So let's go to the next slide so that I can explain it easier. And these are the stages um, in this process. So we have gate one, two, three, four, and five. These are the gates, and when these gates open, they lead to a stage. So you have an ideation stage, and we'll discuss each and every stage and gate in detail. So when you have ideation stage or a business case or screening, validation, testing, launching stage, these stages are blocked by gates. So every stage has a gate after that. Once you are on a particular stage, you have a gate right across it. Once you finish that stage and have all the requirement points on that stage, you open up, you go to the gate, you see you have everything you need for that stage, and you open up the gate, go to the next stage. That is the developmental stage. When you think you have everything ready for the developmental stage, you have done enough research, you have enough resources, you go to the gate, open the gate, and go to the next stage, and so on. So it's basically a passage through a gate to the next stage. Require if you have the deliverables, just like we spoke about the requirements at every stage, you go and open up the gate and you go to the next stage. So these stages can be determined by an individual. Let's say if I'm the head of research and development and I have to launch a new product and give it to the operations, um, I have my own deliverables that I have to satisfy. Um, and I'm the head and responsible for making that call and saying, hey, this product is ready to roll out in the market or roll it out in the manufacturing process. So these deliverables are determined in advance by an individual. If it's a startup, it's determined by an individual. If it's a company, it is determined by a group or set of people in the management. So talking about what are the stages defined by Dr. Cooper in the stage gate theory, we have concept, that is the ideation stage. You have a concept in your mind, and like you're thinking, hey, maybe I can come up with, maybe I have the best idea in the world, or maybe I can make this product much more easier and better, or maybe um, hey, I don't know why did not anybody else think about this, but is this possible? So all these kind of questions or theories, concepts, ideas are the first ever. This is where the innovation is born. So the next stage you have is feasibility, and just because you have an idea doesn't mean it's possible. So let's say I come up with an idea. Hey, what if I travel to Jupiter? But is it feasible really at this point where the technology does the world have enough technology to support it? Or hey, is it going to be cheap? Do we have people? So just attacking those questions is where feasibility comes into picture. Then you have design, where you come up with how do you make it, just like those 3 points: quicker, better, and cheaper. So you come up with design, and then you target on development. How do you develop it so that it adds more value? So you make it more sellable, or more. You make it in a way that customers would want to buy it. And then you have your manufacturing stage, where you roll it out on the production floor. Um, you need to have those technology with you to roll it out, and then you have the support system or the supporting action items. Let's say marketing. You need to have a business plan and things like those. But let's focus on each and every stage in detail. And while we do so, and just trying to make it more interactive and keeping everybody awake, um, just for discussion purposes, we'll consider some example. Let's say a product. Maybe let's talk about Tesla cars. Everybody's excited about Tesla cars these days. Let's talk about Tesla cars, and keeping Tesla electric cars as example. And we'll go through each and every stage and see how did the innovator or the founder came across these stages and tried to tackle all these questions. Let's take one step at a time. But before we do that, there's just a simple understanding chart that says a well-managed stage gate process will concentrate resources on a few good projects and steps. So once you move on from one stage to another or stage to stage, your resource requirements reduces, or you have to focus your resources onto a single thing. So let's say you have a group of 4 people conducting a project in the final year. You're going to conduct one project which everybody knows, but within that project, you have several different stages or several different aspects of the project. And you would want everybody to focus. So you have limited resources, you have limited time, you have limited group members or project members, teammates, and you don't have $1 billion just to make that project work. You have limited money to make it work. You have limited test requirements, testing capabilities. So you come across um, limitations in your own resources, and that is the point where you have to say, I want to focus my resources in such a way that I don't run out of my resources, and I have enough to support the next stages. So tools. Talking about tools, what are the tools you would need on a very simplistic language, trying to make it easier from a layman's approach is multidisciplinary teams at each stage, workable team process. You need prior homework, not just assignment homework, but just um, market study, market research, data analysis, data sets, things like those. You need analytical methods appropriate to product and or market. That is just for example, I've given design for Six Sigma. It's just not that, but when you talk about analytical methods, you need what I mean to say is you need proof or you need data sets or a strong case that can build your product. What I mean to say is you need to have a substantial records or proof to support your theory, to support your claims. If you have a new product that can do this, this, and this, it's much more stronger than steel, then you need to have proofs. You need to have test results. You need to have validation, certifications, just things like those. Let's talk about the first stage. And considering Tesla as an example, what do you think the idea behind Tesla cars would have been? Just an open question to the group.
Firstly, electric car, and second one is um, uh, car can be drive without driver, means automatic car.
And who's this? Vaibhav, right?
What about yes, what about-
Okay. Anybody else?
So it runs on electricity.
Okay.
In single charge, it's run 800 kilometers.
Okay.
Is the main advantage of Tesla car.
And what if I say, hey, the current automotives or the automobiles that we have in the world are just creating a lot of chaos, pollution, um, lot of maintenance. I just want to make something which is more sustainable, which is more environmentally friendly, and which is let's say which makes the driving experience for a driver or a passenger much more comfortable and give them a whole different aspect of comfort and driving experience. What about that? So just things like those, and there is no right or wrong answer to this, but all of these um, opinions or suggestions or let's say ideas come on this ideation stage. So let's go through one point at a time. When you have idea generation, you just generate an idea. You're eating something under a tree, or you're just sleeping under a tree, and something falls from the tree, and you get an idea of, hey, how did this happen? Or what if this? What if that? Just walking down somewhere and just thinking about how can I walk much more faster? Let's introduce wheels on my shoes, in my shoes, so that if I want to um, pop out, open the wheels, I can just move faster, or just something like those. There are tons and tons of examples. And then you have customers' current situation and market needs. So let's say you have an idea, which obviously you think it's brilliant, it's out of the box, it's outside this world. But you also need to know um, if there's a market to this, if people really want this. Do people really want vehicles that run on milk? No, I don't think so. Which runs on carbon dioxide? Yes, carbon dioxide, just sucking air from the surrounding, running it on the air, sucking from the surrounding, and without any liquid, without any electricity or something. That there could be a market for that. I don't know. But just things like those, need of the market, need of the customer, and where the world currently is right now. Um, then you should say, do you have in-house product development capabilities? Do you have let's say I have an idea of shopping or creating a website, or creating another Amazon, but with a different business approach. Do you have a laptop? Do you have programming capabilities? Do you have a programmer? Are you a programmer? Are you a coder? Then you have to brainstorm more and more about that. So just sharing a not recent, but sorry, a personal experience with me. This is something I came across in my undergraduation. I don't know, Professor Katkar, if you know about this, but I was eating date palm one day. My cousin lives in Dubai, and he visited me in Mumbai one day. He brought me some dates, khajur, jo bolte hain hum. He brought me some dates, and I was eating that one day, sitting in my hostel room, and I was like, "Wait, I've heard about pineapple fibers. I've heard about banana fibers. I've heard about cotton. I've heard about everything else, but I've never heard about a date palm fiber. So let's see if these, you know." And I was so new to this. I believe it was my second year, or third semester, about to end my third semester, and I was thinking, let me ask my professor. I went directly, rushed into the professor's office, and I was like, "Hey, professor, I discovered a new fiber. Let's try it out. Let's make it. Let's call it the strongest fiber in the world." Uh, so less that I knew, um, there was already something like this existing, and only if I had done more research, thought more about it, how do you extract those fibers, and something like that. It was not so lucky day for me, but anyway, I learned one important thing, um, which is if you are thinking of something, um, please consider that someone less brilliant than you, someone having less um, resources available than you do, has already thought about it. And if they have thought about it, obviously multinational, huge, giant companies have thought about it. Um, but do not discount the fact that there is always a scope of making it better, cheaper, easier, and there are so many things still in the world that maybe nobody has thought about it, or maybe somebody has thought about it but didn't know how to make it right. Um, so that is when the brainstorming comes into the picture. You brainstorm a lot. You go to the washroom, you think about that idea. You're eating your food, you think about that. You're sleeping, you have dreams about that idea. So it's just living the idea. Um, you have proposed requirements, a set of requirements you have to follow. You have intellectual property that we'll discuss, in the upcoming sessions next week. um, you need to know if you already have a company and you want to make something, you want to make sure your competition is in the right stage. If you already have a competition in the market, if you don't, let's see what they're doing. Just initial research from the internet. You won't get everything available on the internet, but it's the generation of information. It's the age of innovation information. You'll find everything possible for this ideation stage already available readily to you in the market. Just keeping track of my time, we still have 15-20 minutes. Professor Katkar, if that's okay.
Yes, yes, Pranil, you can continue.
Okay, just want to make sure I don't disturb anyone's schedule.
No,
Um,
no, nothing like that. You can continue. Lecture
Thank you.
starts at 9:40.
Okay, I'm gonna end it at 9:39. Okay, just kidding, everybody. Um, So let's say you brainstorm your ideas, you come across everything, you find it interesting. Now what you do in an existing setup is, and this is a typical approach for the companies, but do not get demotivated if you're just an individual coming up with an idea. You still have mentors, you still have experts in the area you can go to and seek advice. So you have marketing. Let's say you go to marketing with an idea to make sure to say, hey, I have this product, I think about this. Do not, and this is something I should have mentioned on the slide, do not open up your ideas very clearly. there have been so many theories related to different food products that I've come across where, hey, I had this idea, not only food products, but so many different products. Hey, I had this idea and I spoke to my friend. I trust my life with him. He will save me if I'm dying. He's my best friend. He's my um oh, it's my neighbor. Why don't I share it with him? He knows much more about me, much more about the product than I do. Let me ask him. Do not disclose all the information you have to any single person. Because this idea, this thought you have could be worth millions and billions of dollars um, in the real world. So let's say you go to marketing, you ask them, hey, is there anything better than what we have for this product or this process or this service? Then you go to research and development to make sure, hey, can we mix sodium and potassium to see what it happens? Can we do this, that? Just making it very easy for people to answer your questions without them knowing what could really be what really the idea is. You go to operations to make sure, hey, I can make this in lab. Can I make this on a big scale? Can I make it in 10 different states in the world or 10 different countries in the world? Or can I make this, is it a seasonal product? Is it non-seasonal? Just things like those. And I lay out all the questions on this slide desk. Then you have finance. Hey, the do people want to invest in a $10 chip packet just to fill their stomach, or will they invest 100 rupees in a chip packet, in a pack of chips to fill their stomach? So there's things like those for different products, for different ideas. You go to each and every subset division of your company or of a company, and you try to figure out from different aspects. So you have questions at first gate. You come up with an idea, but before proceeding ahead, what are questions you should ask yourself? Does this concept fit strategic or business plans? Markets are the market needs satisfied? Is the concept customer driven? Can we obtain intellectual property? Is that something someone has already done earlier? Is that something it's already existing in the market? Or how am I different and something that is already in the market? What is the audience that I want to target? Is it the youth? Is it old age people for accessible motor vehicles, or is it the small kids for toys or something like that? So what is my target audience? So just things like those would be answered, or the questions like those are the blocks or the requirements if you want to open the gate to the next stage. Then you have feasibility metrics, where you come across. I've laid out a chart just keeping the fabric manufacturing in mind. So you have a new fabric, you have an excellent finish you come up with. It's a coating that no one in the world has ever tried about, and you're the first person to try, or maybe the first person to give it a try. And you say, um, and there's always a risk associated with trying something out. So you have a new process, but you want to try it with your current materials. So let's say you have a new um, set of processes for finishing in a fabric, and but you use the same materials you usually use in your current setup. So it has moderate risk to it because you still don't know how the current materials or the already existing materials would react to the new process. What if I mercerize the cotton 10 times? You don't know. It's a new process, but you're doing it with the current materials. You have a moderate risk over there. Then you have new processes and new materials. Everything is new. You buy a new machinery, you buy a new process, you come up with a new process, and you're trying it out for the first ever time. That is very risky. Until and unless you have solid um, reason behind that, why you're trying it, solid proof and study behind it, that comes under very high risk category. Then the low risk and most often companies in the beginning stages or initial stages just to say it works on theory, it works on paper, but let me try out if it really works small scale or maybe just producing samples of what my idea is. You have your current processes, you have current material. You're already running um, say cotton fabric and you want to try something with the cotton fabric but a different weave. So that would be current process. You already are weaving or a fabric you with cotton, something you already do. But let's say you change the weave, you give it a new design, new idea, new process. You have the current process, you have the current material, and you have current process, but you have new material. Let's say you're weaving a fabric, but instead of 60s cotton, you do it with 80s cotton. So you say it's a new material, but something which goes in line with your current material. So all both these categories would on the bottom would come under low risk categories. But talking more about feasibility, you have 10 key factors, and I've laid these out in descending order. And there's a reason why I've done this is the one at the top is the easiest to answer, no matter how difficult it sounds. But once you go down the line, it gets difficult and difficult. Um, you have a superior product. So once you have is it really superior? Is it something better than what is already existing in the market? So I just skip a few points and say quality of execution in the marketing activities. Um, Kiran, right? In the beginning, you said lack of marketing. Um, so do you have the quality? Do you have a team? Do you have experts in the marketing field who has this experience that can get this product in the right to the right audience in the right way? Um, then you have top management support at the very bottom. All that's at the bottom, remember it's in the descending order, and you need to have top management support. If you're an individual, let's say in some close cases I have been with or I have guided a friend of mine who was struggling in his personal life. For him, management would be his parents. So having support from their parents or in a company setup, I would say if I come up with an idea within Jones, I really need to have top management support, or things could go haywire very easily. So all these things in this descending order plays a very critical role in defining the feasibility of the product. Then you open up the gate to the second stage, and once you're at the second stage, you make sure the product is feasible, but then you ask these questions before you can open up the gate to the third question. Um, so at this point, let's say, so I want to discuss top management support and open up a question to the group. So let's say Tesla, right? We were talking about Tesla earlier, electric vehicles. So let's say Elon Musk comes up with this idea. He opens up the gate to step two. He's trying to figure out if his idea is feasible or not. And he goes, where would Elon Musk go to to verify if his idea is feasible or not to get his support if you're talking about top management? Just an open question to the team. So let's say Elon Musk comes up with an idea, a brilliant idea of electric vehicles. In his own mind, he has done his study um, to say it supports the demand of the market. It supports the production capabilities, but I still, even if I'm Elon Musk, he has board members to answer to. He cannot just go every single day in the office and, come up with all the ideas he has in his mind and ask his rest of the team or the company members to just go ahead and make it. That's not possible for him too. He has top management. For him, top management would be board directors, board members. He has to answer because more or less every member in the board is has a stake in the company, has a vital role to play in the company. It could be finance, it could be investing money, it could be a marketing expert that could be on the board. So for him, top management, even him, even Elon Musk has to answer board members. So we're talking about small company setups, moderate company setups, and high company setups where they have to answer their top management and get their support. So you have all these questions, and not just trying to take up much more time from what is already available on the slides. Um, and we're going to have a more interactive session next week, where you would do, you'd go through the slides and just make sure, hey, is this question really for this stage? And if it is, um, why do you think so? What was the reason behind putting this question at this stage? We are talking about reasonable cost, but we are still at stage two. Like, I don't know what would I what would a fabric cost, or what would an electric vehicle cost to me once it's into operation? So why do I have to answer it right now? Can I answer it at stage five when I'm when I'm making a car? No. So you need to answer those questions at the right stage and then open up the gate to the next stage. It could be estimates. All the questions you come across right now on this slide, it's estimations. You just come up with an estimate. Hey, a car has four tires, so let me add up cost of four tires. It has a steering wheel. Let me add up cost of steering wheel. It has a motor or um, metal. So what is the cost of an average metal that goes in a car? So all those things, you just take an estimate to come up with what could be the potential manufacturing cost of that product. Some of the slides here, because it's self-explanatory, but also we're going to discuss in detail for next week. Record keeping, one more initial. The reason I've just stick this, I stuck this page right here is right from stage one to the end of the stage or end of the process. Make sure of one thing. Just like I said before, you do not share intellectual ideas very easily to anybody. It could be your parents, it could be your best friend. So just like that, you have to keep records of everything. If you have, you come up with a new material for a baseball, you have to keep record of, hey, this was the first material I tried out, and this was the result. It was too heavy for me. I couldn't play it well. I couldn't get that swing, or um, maybe I could try to make it more. It could have more grip or something like that. So you need to keep records of everything. So even if it's on a ideation stage or even if it's on a preliminary stage, um, you can try to keep records of all the results. So let's say you're conducting test of the samples in a laboratory, you need to keep records of those as well. Just a minute here. I got a note from Professor Kotker. She's trying to reconnect. Just a quick checkpoint here. Can everybody hear me loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Guess
sir.
it's from
Yeah.
Professor Kotker's side. Um, I'll just text her real quick. It looks good on our side. All right, just a quick checkpoint. Is everybody understanding what I'm trying to say here? Is my message being clearly passed to everyone? Is it properly delivered?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Perfect.
sir.
Feel free to, raise hand or ask questions or just ask me if I'm, hey, can you try to explain me more simpler, or what do you mean by this? Any such questions? I always welcome questions. Um, so then let's go to cost model. And hey, Pranil, you already talked about estimates, and you need to know what your product would cost in the future. But what do I consider when I say, and there could be so many different cost models, but just generalizing most of the manufacturing products cost models, you have manufacturing cost.
Hello,
Um,
Pranil. Hello.
yeah, Professor Katkar.
Yeah, am I audible? Actually, network was disconnected. So
Yeah, yeah, you're audible right now, Professor Katkar, and I just asked everybody if they could hear me. I guess it was something from your end. So
okay, fine. Please
yeah,
continue.
we're about to wind up in a few minutes. So
Right.
so you have manufacturing cost, which has raw materials, labor, processing costs, equipment, utilities, and I guess if you still have the subject from Professor UJ Patil, I guess it's in the final year. It's on project management. You'll come across, there are so many different things when you say processing costs, when you say equipment, utilities, assets. Um, Utilities have water, electricity, so on, so many things. So you'll study that in detail, but these are just to lay out points, um, so that everybody understands what are the different cost models and what costs do you have to consider initially. And once you open up different gates, once you are on different stages, you have many more points you'll have to consider. And then you have sales and general administration costs. So once you scale up your product, you're just not working alone. You have a team of 10 people, 50 people, 200 people, 500 people. You have sales and distribution. You have different departments in your own company. You have R&D department. You have operations. You have sales. You have quality control. You have um, office personnel. You have HR, human resources. So just things like those and admin costs. Once you add up the manufacturing cost and the sales and general administration cost, that is the fixed cost, most of the times you get the total cost of manufacturing. And all of those add up to give you the total cost. So not spending much more time on the cost model here. Then you open up the third gate. You have the questions from gate one, gate two, and you have gate three questions. So this is where you build a prototype, or you build a sample, or you build um, let's say a pilot product. So um, you have a sample with you, and you try it out, you test it, you do sample runs, sample tests. You say, hey, maybe this chemical and this chemical does add up, and it gives me that value added that I'm looking for. Or hey, you have one small vehicle, talking about Tesla. So let's say you have Tesla, just an open question again, and probably the last question for the day. Um, if I'm Elon Musk, and or if you are Elon Musk and you are the inventor of electric vehicle, idea of electric vehicles, and you are at gate three, you want to open up the third gate. You're at stage three, and you want to open up the gate to stage four. You have already. What would be stage three for you guys? Or what will be the stage three for Elon Musk?
So getting manufacturing done at like low costs, so I can produce more product.
And who's this?
Harsh.
Harsh. I would say you already jumped on to stage four. That's a good question. You're already ahead of the curve, Harsh. But I would say even before answering that question, there is another question that needs to be answered. So what would that be? Even Harsh, just to your point, even before trying to reduce my cost, I have to check many different things before. So what would that question be for Elon Musk or for Tesla?
is that like patentable? So like if the model is patented, so manufacturing like the product will be safe.
Okay. Anybody else wants to give it a try?
Actual production of the product and the testing and get conclude that is good or updated, required to update.
And may I know your name, please?
Sir Akash.
Akash. Sorry, I'm just able to see the initials, so I apologize. But Akash, good point here. But before, even before production, that's what you said, right? So the production is the question. Is it producible or it can it be produced at large scale? Is that the question you were asking?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, finding means what we design produce for the electric car. So design solution finding.
Sorry, I'm not following.
At stage three, sir, means firstly idea is clear, then feasibility is done. After that, they are required means how to design that car.
Mm-hmm.
Design is one
Right.
criteria.
So design. Let's say I've already designed it and I already know it works, and I know it works on paper. But before going to the full manufacturing stage, this is where the third stage comes into the picture. Before opening the third gate to see if I can manufacture thousands and lakhs of cars at a mass scale. Um, so the question we are looking for, or Tesla is looking for at stage three, is let me build one car just to see. I have the design, I have the buy-in from my board members, I know there is a market for this, I know it, nobody else in the market is doing this, but what is on paper is can it be done in real? So he goes out to a lab, let's say a small manufacturing plant for automotives or a garage shop, and builds up an electric vehicle. And the question for him would be, does this sample work? So in order for hundreds of thousands of cars to work, he has to make the sample work. So the prototype, right? The prototype is the sample you make before going into full scale production. So if I want all the electric vehicles that I sell to work, I have to make this sample work. And does the sample work? Is there anything that needs to be added? Now that I can see it in real, now that I can drive this sample car, I want to do so many tests. So before going to large scale, I want to make sure this sample meets all the safety requirements that a car should have. It meets all the electricity requirements. It meets all comfort requirements that I'm looking for, that I want to give the customers the driving experience for. Does it meet all the requirements? And maybe, I'm just saying, in some cases, what a company or an individual does, if you look at the last point, is show it to potential customers. So instead of showing to everybody in the world, he'll just show it to maybe 10 people who are experts in cars and get their feedback. Hey, before manufacturing this, can I do this? And just so that everybody knows, there are non-disclosure agreements that are in place for things like these. So let's say you know a very big a marketing expert, and you want to get into his head and try to find out if the idea you have works or not. What you do is have him sign the non-disclosure agreement so that he does not discuss, or he would be restricted to discuss this idea that you have with anybody else, and then share the idea with him. So So these are the questions to be asked before opening the third gate. Then you have testing and evaluation. You have properties you need to test. You have safety data. You have process data. You have cost estimates. Now that I've built a sample, I want to study what will it take for me to build, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of these cars. It took me 5,000 rupees to make this car, but if I make hundreds and thousands of these cars, maybe it takes me 4,500, or maybe it takes 6,000 rupees. So these are the questions that you'll come across in testing and evaluation. So you have questions for fourth gate. Um, can this product be produced at commercial basis or at a mass scale? Can I make this product in China, even though I'm launching it in US? Does Chinese government have all the policies that I would need or my product would need? Um, if I go on a large scale, let's say I build a sample for 10 rupees, but if I go on a large scale, the product will cost me thousands of rupees. But a customer will want to buy a 10 rupee product, not a 1,000 rupee product. So is it feasible? Is it acceptable? Does it have acceptable cost price to it? So these are the questions you would ask on the fourth gate. Um, then you have the fifth gate questions. Um, just similar to the fourth gate questions, but on a bigger scale, on a broader scale. Once you answer the questions on mass scale production, you would go back you would go back to feasibility stage, and say, can I still make it better? Can I still protect my IP rights so that if I am to modify this car and give generation 2 cars, generation 2 Tesla, generation 3 Tesla, generation 4 Tesla, I want to protect not just my product, but the future of this product, the future of my company, the future of my idea. What can I do right now so that I'm protecting myself in the future as well? Um, if I have the customers that would want to buy my car, what is the customer commitment to my product? Will if they have 10 cars, will they buy one Tesla car from me and have nine other cars, nine Toyotas, Hyundai, Hondas, Marutis, or will they buy 10 more Tesla cars from me? So what is the commitment and promise to the customer? So the final stage, Professor Katka, how much time do we have?
How much time you need?
I just need 5 minutes maybe.
Okay, no issues. You can continue.
Okay, all right. So the last stage, and before a product is launched into the market, is business proposition. So in a nutshell, just to make it easy before I explain you any further, is it's a saying. If you cannot sell it to a 5-year-old, you cannot sell the product. So what I mean to say it is you should have all the information laid out in a way that even someone who is not from the business, who does not know what textiles is, or does not know what is electric vehicle, should understand what the business is. So you have investors in the world. They have lots and lots of money. They have piggy banks full of money, and they want to invest in ideas. They want to invest in entrepreneurs, startups, and new innovations. But they don't know if what they're investing will give them fruitful results. So for that, you lay out your whole business idea, proposition. You give out the numbers. So if he's investing crores and crores of rupees into if someone is investing crores and crores of rupees in an electric vehicle idea, he wants to know if he will get any profits from that. He wants to know what the um, Tesla vehicle will be sold at. So what is the market? So all those questions you have answered before needs to be in a tangible um, format. Let me put it this way: all the questions you have answered before, all the questions you have answered before, um, needs to be in a format that is accepted worldwide in a simplistic manner, and in terms and definitions that everybody understands. So let me give you an example for this. What are the features and benefits of the product? The first thing, hey, I know you have a new product, but what is the feature? What is the benefit? What is the value addition to this? Okay, now have the product. What is the customer base? What are you targeting? Are you targeting 65-year-olds or are you targeting 2-year-olds? What are the patent opportunities? So I know you have a brilliant idea, but what stops the other person from doing the same thing that you're doing? You have competitive response, you have manufacturing cost, just like the cost model you added or we looked at before, is something goes with the business plan. I'm making a product at this much, these are my costs, and this is what I'll sell it at. You have packaging and distribution. Even the best products in the world failed because of bad packaging. Sometimes, and depending on what audience you're focusing on, you need to give very limited information to them to prevent any confusion. I have seen packaging that gives a lot more information that is needed. So, it just fails to reach the success of the product. Then you want to explain what are the profits as an investor, if someone is investing, or if someone is having a stake in your company, or if someone is lending you a loan. So, this business plan, not only for investors, but also for if you want to if you want to take a loan from a bank, the bank will ask you for, hey, if I'm investing in your business, what is the business plan? What does the company look like? What does the product look like in the future? They might not give you all the money you need, but depending on how they are satisfied, case to case, they might give you some proportion of money that you're looking for. And then you have launch plans. You have everything, all the costs, all the operational capabilities, you have the market study research, samples, data, analysis, and everything in the world you need. But how are you going to launch it to the customer? Are you going to hire a celebrity to give the face to that product? Or are you going to go door to door to each and every household um, in India and sell this product? So you have to answer all these questions and lay it out on a piece of paper so that it's easy to understand even for a 5-year old. And when I say 5-year old, not literally 5-year old. And then, ta-da, you launch, you pull the trigger, you pull the gun, you take the market right into the market, and then comes the last stage. If you want to survive with the new product, you measure progress. You see at every stage, at every point of your launch, at every with every customer that has bought these, you take their feedback, you close the loop. There are products in the world that have open loop process where you just launch the product, but you don't care of what the customers feel, what the customers think. I know you have done sample research on 10 people, but what do 100 people actually have to say about your product? So, are there any modifications that they are looking for? Are there any loopholes in the product? Are there damaged products or defective products going to the customer? Or, is there a concept we can start, 3 months down the line? You have S S7, Samsung Galaxy S7. Once they roll it out, they look for feedback. What can we add in S8, S9, S10, S20? So just things like those are the questions you ask or the feedback you look for after launching the product. So with this, this everybody is waiting for this slide when we wind it off and go to bed. It's already late night over there. But just as a bummer for everyone, um, I planned another slide after the thank you slide. That is an activity, just to surprise everyone. But before we start with the next session, next week, and this is something really interesting if you're, looking for new product development or if you have an idea, create a one-pager business development plan It could be a PowerPoint, it could be a Word document, but it should be as simplistic as a one pager. It could be a poster, but just keep it as simple as a one page of a product that is already existing in the market. It could be textile product, let's say a face mask, or let's say a non-textile product, a spaceship, or as simple as a toothpaste. Just come up with an already existing product and create a business development plan for it, assuming you are the one who had the idea of innovating Colgate to the world for the first time. So determine you're following the stage gate process. What are the gates before launching a toothpaste or Colgate or a Pepsi drink or anything um, before launching that product into market? So, Professor Katkar, um, I'll share my details in the email with you. If everybody can just send me directly email me this one pager. I can just go through that before the next session, and it'll be easier for me to understand where they are at, and then give them feedback, or just having an interactive session with everybody.
So, Pranil, do you need all the activity to be submitted by the students, and I'm supposed to send it to you, right?
Yes.
Actually, Pranil, we have made divided the students into different groups.
Mm-hmm.
So let us assign this activity to these groups itself, so that
Okay.
they can complete it in group itself. And through Google link, we have prepared even Google form. So all these students, they can submit through that link. I'll just share the document to you for your
Okay.
reference once they submit
Okay.
it.
Perfect. Actually, groups works even better, because then if someone in the group has more marketing expertise or someone has background in manufacturing, they can have all their inputs they need to come up with this business plan. And I don't want something so concrete, just for everybody. I'm not looking for the best business plan in the world, but I'm just looking for how do you tackle the questions. And Professor Katkar, I'll be sharing this slide and some reference slides with you all, or with Professor Katkar. If you can just share it with them, it will help them to come across these questions, or it'll just make it easier for them as a reference.
Yeah, excuse me, Pranil. Will it be better if we give them 1 week time for completing this activity?
Yeah. We are giving them 1 week time, and this will be done before we continue our next session. So in 4 to 5 days, Professor Katkar, I'll just ask you for a heads up if they are on track with this. And once they're on track and they submit this, we can have the session next day itself.
Yeah, yeah. Once they submit this assignment, we'll
Mm-hmm.
arrange next session, right?
Right. So let's keep Saturday as a deadline, just so that
Yeah,
everybody
coming
the call group.
this Saturday, or will it be
This
okay if we give them like next Monday?
Okay. Yeah, we can give them next Monday, and we can Monday, and we can have. I can confirm the next session to you by this
Monday
weekend,
evening?
or for Wednesday or Tuesday maybe.
Next Wednesday, right?
Yeah, next Tuesday or Wednesday, but I'll confirm you within two to 3 days.
Sure, Pranil. No
I would
issues.
just need some time to look at what they have done, just before hitting into this, because I consider this activity as really critical to them. As much as basic as it would sound, it will show them and the group and myself where they are at, and what they think of a business plan.
Sure.
And just as a note for everybody on the call, I don't know if you guys already have watched Shark Tank before, but this is something I used to watch way before. That was Shark Tank America, USA. Recently, India has launched Shark Tank 2. So if you could just watch one episode of Shark Tank, you will exactly understand what is a business plan, and how do you pitch a business plan to an investor, and what is the information that they are looking for. Not a part of activity and not mandatory at all, but just based on the resources you have, available media or anything, etc., etc. If I would suggest you to watch at least one episode of Shark Tank before coming up with this business plan.
Yeah, it's better suggestion.
Yeah.
And now we can finally go to this slide. Any questions?
Um, so Harsh here. So I had a little one question. Um, Hello.
Yeah, Harsh. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah. As you said on gate three, they check they do prototyping, kind of prototyping, right?
Mm-hmm.
So isn't that possible that it gate two itself? Because in gate two we check the feasibility. So how if we are checking the feasibility, then why not on gate two we do those things?
So that's a good question. And I'm expecting such kind of questions in the next 2 weeks. But just to answer that, and it'll make it easier for you to understand for the activity, is when you're checking the feasibility on gate two, you're doing an on paper research on if it could be possible or not, rather than even investing for some. So let me put it this way: if you have a product that to make a sample, for example, an electric vehicle, it can cost you thousands and lakhs of rupees, right? But even before doing that, you want to make sure on paper you have the CAD diagram of the car, you have all uh, the the blueprints, the fine print of the car. You want to make sure you want to run simulations. There are high-end softwares that run simulations on how the car will run when you have an actual car, and just things like those. You want to make sure even before investing in a sample plan, it actually works on paper. So in stage two, you check the feasibility on paper in theory, and then you have an actual sample in stage three, if that makes sense.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Any other question?
I don't think so. They have any questions, Mr. Katkar, Professor Katkar.
Yeah. So shall we stop here, Pranil?
Yeah, we can. Let's wind up for
Okay,
today.
I'll
And
submit the document of the assignment to you through email,
okay,
and then yeah, we can arrange the next session.
yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and about the feedback, it's really interactive and very good session by you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Professor Katkar, and thank you everybody for joining. And hopefully, I was able to answer some questions, give you some guidelines. But the next session, I'm hoping it to be more interactive. So make sure you just come across, watch products from a different angle. Um, think about why will somebody come up with this, or what about this, and just ask so many questions to yourself. And trust me, you'll get, I have all scholars on this group. So you'll get answers to all the questions yourself. But if not, we can discuss it in the next session. And until then, see you, kudos, and have a nice day, everybody.
Yeah. Good night, Pranil.
Thank you, sir.
Have a nice day, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you, sir.